Greetings from Athena the Witch. I hope everyone is doing well tonight. That I want to bring forth has to do with dream interpretation of animals. It's come to my understanding. Some people want to know what their dreams mean. The ones that I am most acquainted with are the ones that have to do with birds, cats, dogs, things like that, deer. So I will start with the raven. Now, some people think that the raven is a negative omen. Not necessarily so. Okay. It is associated with transformation, healing, love, protection. And the message also has to do with truth and clarity on maybe a question that you have or situation that's bothering you. And that's when the raven will appear in your dream. And like I said, a lot of people think it's a negative association, but not necessarily. It can be very positive. If you are chased by a raven, okay, in your dream, okay, you are then feeling overwhelmed about your situation, something that's bothering you, and you're not really quite sure what that is, okay? A lot of times, I know when I was growing up, I used to confuse the crows and the ravens, okay? They're both black. But there's a difference. Like the raven is larger than the crow, okay, in size, in beak, in tail. Has more of a red shape hawk tail, or red tailed hawk. Um, the crow is more like a pigeon size, if you will. I still get confused. I have to look when I see them to be more sure. But yeah, that's usually how that is. Um, Another one has to do with, oh boy, let me see, the hawk. Okay, that's the bald eagle and the hawk are one of my favorites. Okay. Hawk means triumph over a struggle that you're going through. If you see a hawk in your dream, okay. Um, has to do with competition. You're up against something, okay. You want to, when you see the hawk in your dream, like I said, there's competition there. Trying for what you want and having to keep it as close to you as possible, if that makes any sense. Okay. I think the hawk, the bald eagle are phenomenal. I love to see them in the wild. The other one that I like also, like I said, is the bald eagle. But in general, eagles, if you see an eagle in your dream, it means protection, strength, independence, vision. Don't forget, the eagle can see from such a far distance in the sky a fish in the ocean and can just zing down and catch that fish with such an accuracy. It's unbelievable. The eyesight is phenomenal. Generally, what it means is, the spirit, freedom, okay, self-expression, growth. If you see that It's a growth connection with your higher self. Okay. So that's for an eagle. Now, the bald eagle. Okay. All right. Uh, telling you about something new coming, trying to figure out the balance between work, family, hobbies, your life, basically, put your life in perspective. So you need to balance things so you're not overwhelmed. So that's what the bald eagle is saying, basically. Let's see who else. The bear. Okay. Any bear. I'm not saying black bear, brown bear, but this is any bear. Okay. Courage, protection, fear, anger. Okay. Insecurity. Hmm. Then when you see the bear, it could mean one or both of those things. Fear, anger. Yeah. Okay. Because of maybe a situation that you're going through. But on the other hand, it's telling you to be courageous. Okay. It's telling you that you are protected. Okay. Unless that bear is running after you to attack you, that's where the fear and the anger comes in. But if you see a bear that's nice and calm, and is going about his or her own way, and sees you but doesn't even stop to acknowledge you, it's telling you that, be courageous. You're protected. Okay. Now, the rabbit. Hmm. Rabbit is wonderful to see because it means it's the beginning of something new, a new encounter, good fortune coming your way. Usually, when we see the rabbit, it has to do with fertility as well or achievement. It's also a sign of spring. We celebrate Ostra, okay, um, with a lot of rabbits and eggs, on your altar. Okay, so it's fertility. It's, the earth is coming alive again, so it's bringing new life, basically. Well, right now we're in the winter, so of course everything has died down. Okay, and it's time to rest and do some shadow works. But when spring comes, we bring out the rabbit. Okay, we do an altar with rabbits and eggs and things of that nature. A little nest with eggs in it. Earth is coming alive again. Okay, the grass is growing, the trees are showing their buds, the roses are blooming. So it's new life, so to speak. Okay, so that's always a nice thing to have. Okay, and then cats. Well, cats are, you either like cats or you don't like cats. Okay. And usually when you see a cat in your dream, it's a nice, cuddly little cat. Okay. That, you want to cuddle and hold. And it's a symbol of freedom, independence. Okay. Could be, well, I don't know if I would say that so much. Um, a cat is cute, especially a new cat, a kitty cat. Okay. Um, they're independent and they're not like dogs. So a cat will come to you on its own terms. Okay. So if a cat comes to you and starts cuddling with you and lets you pet it, in your dream, okay, that means that you have someone that you can trust in. For example, if a cat gives you his or her back, now, it doesn't mean that the cat is standoffish or cool and distant. What it's saying is, I trust you to give you my back because I know you love me. So I trust you. Okay. If you have a cat in your dream that is screaming at you and clawing, that's different. Okay. That means there's a lot of negativity coming your way or is around you now, and be on alert. Okay. Someone doesn't want you to achieve what you're trying to do. Okay. So you got to look at it that way. Now, the black cat. Okay. Again, poor black cat. I was just reading an article about a cat who's been in the animal shelter for 58 days and nobody wants the cat because the cat is black. Come on, people. We're 2024. Okay? Please. A lot of people look at a black cat and think negativity, association with witches and the devil, and it's a bad omen to have a black cat. And the black cat is the witch's familiar. Well, the black cat can be, not all black cats are, but yeah, can be. But the black cat gets a bum rap. Let's put it that way. Okay. uh It can also mean that, if you see a black cat in your dream, stop caring about what other people think of you. That's the other meaning that it can have. Go about being who you are and don't care what people think. They don't pay your bills, they don't walk in your shoes. You either love me or you don't, and I can go either way. It doesn't matter to me. Okay? But you have to have a strong personality for that, to be honest, to look the other way, you know? Uh, okay. For me, I have a black cat. And my cat is Misty, and she's on top of the lazy boy chair, sleeping now. Um, she stays in my witchy room. This is where she lives. At night, when the dogs are in my bedroom with my husband and the door is closed, I let her go and roam around the house. Okay. She doesn't stay long. She likes it here. But, she's curious and she wants to smell what's going on and who is here and what's going on. And so she does a little walk. She jumps on the windowsill. She looks outside a couple of minutes and she jumps back down again and she makes her way back onto her lazy boy chair. Yeah. And then she'll come over to me and she'll want to cuddle and purr and sit on my lap. And she is my familiar. I do tarot reading here in my room. And so she will jump on the table next to me and watch the cards. It's so funny, you know. So sometimes I turn to her and I go, do you agree with what I was just saying? And she'll just look at me. But yeah, no, black cats are not bad omens. Okay, they are not. Okay, so like I said, unless the cat is screaming at you, wants to scratch you or bite you or attack you, that just means there are things going on that you are not knowledgeable about, maybe people around you that you think are nice to you or have befriended you or have your back, but they don't. Okay, so there's an old saying, keep my enemies closer to me so I know what they're doing. But just make sure you know the difference between the two, okay? The other one that people encounter in their dreams is the deer. Oh, I love deers. You know, I will say in New Jersey, we have a law, and there's hunting season for deers and bears. And I really get so upset about that. I do, because, you'll hear proponents saying, oh, these deers are terrible. They cause accidents. You're going to total your car. You might die in an accident because of them. And bears, they'll kill you when they see you. They'll come in your property. They'll come into your house. Okay, let's look at this both ways. It could be that a bear wants to enter your house. Usually it's because they're hungry and they're smelling food. And a lot of times it's because when you put out trash, you don't close your garbage cans appropriately. Okay. And they're hungry. So they want to rumble through that. And then if they smell you cooking, well, guess what? They want to come in and get some food. Okay. So, yes, if a bear enters your house, the rule here in New Jersey is to shoot and kill. Now, why can't they just anesthetize the poor thing, you know, let it sleep and put it back in nature? Why do they have to kill? They're so happy to kill. Okay. Same thing with the deer. Oh, we got to kill the deer population because it's overburdening us. Well, sorry, but newsflash, they were here before us, okay? Bears and deers, okay? And we infringed on their property, okay? They've got nowhere to go. So they're coming to us where we live. Animals have a way of naturally controlling their own population. They weed out the weakest among them. Okay. So why do we have to go in and start killing these animals? If you have an answer, let me know, because I'm dumbfounded on that one. But when you see a deer in your dream, okay, it means tranquility, prosperity. Native Americans, for example, and I read this someplace a while ago. If a hunter shoots a white deer and kills it, that hunter will never successfully hunt again, because a white deer is very favorite in Native American culture. So, you just got to be careful. Dogs. Well, this is where we can go both sides on this one too. Your average dog. Dogs are different than cats. They're more cuddly. They want your affection all the time. They'll lay down beside your feet. They'll want to lay on top of you. I've got 4 dogs. Yeah. It's like having a kennel. We adopted Murphy in Hackensack. Murphy originally was from Texas, was thrown out into the street and was hit by a car, broke a leg, and this lady found him, nursed him back to health, but could not keep him. So she did not want to put him in a kill shelter. She wanted to make sure that this was a shelter that would find nice adoptive home for him. So hence he comes from Texas to Hackensack, New Jersey. At that time, that's where we lived. So we would go into shelters, and the most that we could find, excuse me, I got to wet my whistle here. Thank you. Most that we could find were pit bulls. Now, I love pit bulls. I have nothing against pit bulls. I think they get a bad rap, okay? But where we lived at the time, they had a policy that certain dogs were not allowed. And pit bull was number one on the list. Number two was German Shepherds, which really enraged me because as a young person, I had German Shepherds all the time. I raised German Shepherds. So that bothered me. Okay. They had massive Rottweilers. Please, you raise an animal with kindness and love, that animal will respond insane. You raise that animal to be vicious, that animal will be vicious. That's it. Anyhow, so the dog in a dream, okay, I'm sorry, I got off guard. Murphy came to us in the shelter. We saw him, and I saw it said lab retriever mix, but nobody knew what the mix was. So my husband went off in another direction. So I went and I called him and I said, this is the closest you're going to get to a lab. I said, it's a mix, but nobody knows what the mix is. So he comes, he takes a look at it. He goes, okay, I want to see the dog. So they put us in a room. We're sitting on the floor. They let the dog in. The dog jumps straight to my husband's lap and starts licking him. So my husband goes, okay, he's a good one. We're taking him home. So that's how Murphy came to be. And he is my number one all-time favorite, lovable, sweet dog. And then we got, a year later, Molly Ann. Now she's a pure golden lab. And Molly is sweetness galore, okay? But she's very insecure. And she'll sit on my lap when I'm on the love seat or the couch, and she'll want to hug me. She's my husband's shadow. That's her daddy. And then we got Maggie May, who is a black lab who just turned a year old in December 7th. And she grew so fast that one day I turned around and looked at her and said to my husband, who's this dog? And he goes, what do you mean, who's this dog? I said, where's my baby? My baby that I held in my arm. He says, your baby is like a horse now. She's big. Again, she's very insecure, wants to jump and hug me all the time. I'm trying to get it to stop jumping because I really don't like that because she's powerful. She can knock you down. She's also insecure, but not to the level of Molly. Molly is more so. Molly shakes when you leave the house, even though she's got 3 other dogs here with her. You know, she kind of worries, are you coming back? You know, that kind of thing. Whereas Maggie May, no. Then we have Max. Now, Max is a 20-week-old puppy, chocolate lab, purebred. Got her from another witch, the town over. And you should see the paws on this puppy. Twice the size of Maggie Makes, so he's going to be huge. He's getting big already. And he is just the sweetest ever. I mean, he's all over me. He followed me all around the place. So dogs are lovable. They're clingy sometimes. And then sometimes they want their own little space, and you got to give them that. Um, unless in your dream the dog attacks you. Okay. If a dog attacks you in your dream or has bitten you, that means there's an illness on its way. Um, other than that, a dog in your dream is pure love, pure acceptance, pure forgiveness, loyalty, you name it. Okay. Um, someone had said to me once, what does it mean? I was laying down on the couch and I fell asleep, and I couldn't move. It was like I was being held down, and I wanted to scream. I wanted to wake up, and I couldn't, and I'm moving around, but something was holding me down. And then this black dog came and bit me. So I said, well, it's usually not a good sign. You know, are you feeling ill or anything? No, no, I feel fine. Okay. Do you have any problems at work, in the family? You know, not that I know of. Okay. And then 9 months down the line, this man came down with cancer, you know, and is no longer with us. But that always stayed in my mind, you know. Um, the other bird I wanted to talk about is the owl. That's another one of my favorite birds. I like the barnyard bird, the snowbird, that turns all white. Um, they're nocturnal, okay, and their vision is phenomenal as well. And that's one of my familiars too, the owl. Um, when I sign off with a witch, an owl, a black cat, and my broom. Okay, that's me. So yeah, the owl is all knowing, okay, and is a familiar to a witch, along with the black cat. Now, not all black cats are familiars, okay, um, but the ones who are, you'll know, and you can't coax them. This is something that they're in tuned with already. So, you know. But the owl is all knowing, all seeing, and um, it's funny because I have an owl outside that keeps the birds at a distance from my garden. They think it's a real owl. And it looks pretty, you know, uh, fearful. So in the spring, it really works well. um, the last one I want to talk about is the dove. Now, I don't know if you know this, but the dove and pigeons are from the same DNA background, if you will. Okay. Um, a dove is a symbol of peace, of reconciliation, of forgiveness. Okay. Um, different than the pigeon. The pigeon just goes about his little old way or her little old way. Usually the pigeon is bigger than the dove. I would say well endowed. Um, but if you see a dove, that's really a very good sign, you know. And so the dove comes to you to say everything is okay, you know. Life is good. Doesn't see anything bad around you. or it may come to you because there is issues in the family and it wants you to resolve them, wants you to extend the olive branch, so to speak. So that's when the dove will come to you as well. Okay. Um, so yeah. So these are some of my animals that speak to me that I'm aware of. There's many more, I'm sure. Um, oh, there was one bird that came. Oh, my grandmother. Okay. Like I said before, my grandmother is from the Appalachian area of West Virginia. And so she said to me as a little girl, I said, "Oh, Grandma, there's a bird at our windowsill." She says, "Don't open that window." And I said, "Okay." And I said, "Well, why?" And she says, "It's a bad omen if a bird comes in your house through the window." Now, years later, my husband went to see a friend of his who was um, very ill with cancer. And I had seen him the week before, and I thought, this is the last time I'm going to see him. And so I hugged him and kissed him, and he cried. And I think he knew that this would be the last time he would see me as well. So my husband went to see him that day, and he comes home and he said, the strangest thing happened. He said, a bird flew in the window. And I was like, oh boy. He goes, why? I said, they're coming for him. Who's coming for him? I said, the angel of death is coming for him. That's a sign. He says, he said, I had that feeling. He said that that's what it meant, but I wasn't sure. I said, yeah. Yeah, my grandmother told me when I was a little girl. She said, never let a bird come in the window, through the window. He fought a big fight, but unfortunately, the cancer overtook him. So, yeah. So animals are significant in our dreams. They mean different things to different people. Um, Let me know what you think, about that. There are people who don't like dogs, don't like cats, don't like really any animal. I don't trust people like that. I just don't. Um, I believe God gave us these creatures to embellish our life, to give us pleasure. And if we can't understand that, because I know when I look at my dogs, okay, and my Misty, my black cat, when I walk into this room, Misty jumps for joy because she knows that I'm going, oh, she's listening. Oh, did you wake up, sweetheart? Yeah. She knows that mommy's going to come and hold her and pet her and play with her. And so she's so happy. And she just lets me. And she purrs and purrs and purrs. And then when she's had enough, she goes back onto her chair and goes to sleep. Yeah. So animals, especially cats, are not as cuddly as dogs. They tend to come to you when they want to. So in your dreams, it's the same thing. They will come to you in a loving way to reassure you that everything's okay, or they'll come to you in a menacing way, which means something's going on around you that you're unaware of. Open up your eyes, listen, okay? So animals do speak to us, okay? And everyone may have a different interpretation on what it means when an animal comes to them. And you got to go with your gut feeling, okay? I remember when I was a little girl, my first dog was a miniature German Shepherd, if you will. And it was given to me by my father for my 4th birthday. And we named her Queenie. And we had her for a very long time. I think Queenie lived till she was 13. And she was very loyal, very loyal. And what was nice about Queenie was that I could walk Queenie because she didn't pull, like my German Shepherds. But then I got them to calm down too. But they're very powerful dogs, so that's why you have to have them trained right away, because you need to have control over them. My German Shepherds were such loyal pets, but all of my pets are, really, to be honest. And I always said that if I was going to get any other dog after my Cody went and my Trixie, it would be a different type of dog. And my husband wanted labs, so we got labs. And labs are very different than German Shepherds. They're sweet. Not that German Shepherds aren't sweet, but a German Shepherd can be trained as a family dog, can be trained as a guard dog. But labs are usually low-key. They're very friendly. Like, for example, Max, that's my little one, 20 weeks old dog, chocolate lab. He will come in the room here and play with Misty. Now, my other dogs won't do that, okay? Because they look at Misty as prey. Because Misty was adopted, like I said, and she was too old, set in her ways. And like I said, we had Murphy for 6 years before she came into the picture. So come here, my good girl. Oh, come here. Come here. Come, Mama. Come, Mama. There she is. There's my girl. There's my baby. Yeah, say hi. Okay. There you go. There you go. Okay. It's pretty heavy too. So the other the other two, okay, really aren't crazy about Misty. But Maggie May and Max will come in here and play with her. And she's okay with them. But she's fearful of the other two, you know. And like I said, I adopted her from a pet store. And they gave me a lot of problems to get her because at the time we lived in a mobile home where you could only have 2 pets. And I had to get permission from hometown to get her. And even with a letter with their heading on it saying, yes, I can have her because she'll be an indoor cat. I kept on getting calls from this place. Are you sure you want to keep her? Yeah. Yeah, I sure want to keep her. And she is so lovable. Her mother, the lady who had her first, um, died of cancer, and the dad was having dementia, and so that's why she was put up for adoption. And I remember going into the pet store to get things for dogs, and I passed by and I saw her in the window, and her back was to the glass, and people were tapping on the window, wanting to get her attention. Oh, thank you, sweetheart. Thank you. She just kissed me. Um, and she'd give them their back, like, say, leave me alone. I don't want to be bothered with you. She was so sad. And that's when I said to my husband, I called him up. I said, we got to adopt this cat. And he says, are you crazy? He says, our dogs aren't used to cats. And she's probably not used to dogs. And I said, well, we'll make some kind of arrangement. It worked out. You know, she's happy. She's very happy. She's purring like crazy right now. Yes, she is. So, yeah, animals mean a lot of things to different people. And I don't, like I said, I don't trust anyone who doesn't like an animal, because to me, there's something wrong there. So I will leave you with the thought of maybe getting a book on dreams. I have quite a few of them myself, um, but I don't always find everything that I want in there. And think that the best way to interpret your dreams is to experience them. And once you experience them, you can put on your nightstand, um, a little binder, and have a pen and write down your dream. Or better yet, before you go to bed at night, say, I want to remember my dreams. Okay. And when you wake up in the morning, you might not have the whole dream. Most of the time, you don't. You'll have bits and pieces of the dream. And so write down what you remember right away. Okay. Because funny enough, the rest will come later on. Something will trigger your computer, your brain, and will shoot out a word or a feeling, and you'll go, oh, that's what it meant. Okay. And so you can fill in the puzzle. Okay. So you are your best interpreter of the dreams you experience, because they have to mean something specific to you. Okay. Um, the best I can tell you is that dreams are speaking to you in a way to usually warn you about something good coming, something not so good coming, or an environment that is not good to be in. Okay. Um, yeah. So, unlike doing the tarot, which, you know, I really dislike the word fortune telling. I really do, because I don't see it as fortune telling. Okay. When I put down the cards, and you don't have to ask me a specific question. Okay. I'm looking at the cards, and I am seeing a story developing. And I will ask you, um, okay, I see this, and this. Can you relate to that? And it's either yes or no. Most of the time, people will go, yeah, what does it mean? And I'll go, well, I see this person and this person, and they're not getting along. Actually, it's getting worse. Can you relate to that? Uh-huh. And by the end of the story, it's like these two people, that were not getting along, it escalated, okay, to the point where the son had to leave the house because the father was very abusive. So when you see that, you're interpreting what these cards are saying. You're not fortune telling. What you're saying is you're giving guidance, a reference to what is going on. Okay. And sometimes you hit it right on, and sometimes it's stuff that you can't relate to because it hasn't happened yet. It's in the universe making its way. Okay. Now, the other thing I wanted to talk about briefly is being an empath. I am an empath. That's why I don't like to be around crowds, because I'm like a sponge. I pick up people's energy. But empaths have to be very careful because they're also enablers. They're usually very kind people. And they always see the good in someone versus the not so good. Well, through my 70 years of experience, I've learned that I have to be more observant in that area. And it's funny because I will get a feeling whether or not this person that I just met is on the up and up or not. And if that person isn't, I get that feeling right in my gut. It's like, oh, you don't want to be around this person. Okay. I used to, when I was younger, make excuses. Oh, they had a bad upbringing. It wasn't their fault. This is this, and that's why they're like this, and blah, 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 blah. And as the years went by, I learned that we are all responsible for ourselves. Okay. So stop blaming other people for your situation. Take charge of your life, do something positive with it, and stop blaming other people for your circumstances. I'm not saying let them off the hook, okay? If these people were bad to you, hurt you, you know what? If they're on the here and now, on this plane, talk to them, tell them you forgive them, move on. They probably don't care, but you need to do it for yourself so you can move on. All right. If they're in another plane, quiet yourself, meditate, see them, and let everything that you have to say that you've been holding back on, say it. Get it out. Over. Done. Okay. And then an old Indian thing where you go outside and you dig a hole in the dirt and you put a piece of fruit or some kind of food and bury it and say thank you to Mother Earth for taking that away. Okay. So that's my talk for tonight. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know what you think. So till we meet again, brightest blessings and have a great evening. Night.